At 8 p.m. on the 19th of July 1969, a force of 25 Shayetet 13 operators, some of Israel's most elite special forces, depart from the settlement of Ras Sudar. They are to penetrate the heavily defended and well-fortified Egyptian coastal fortification on Green Island in the Gulf of Suez. This force is named Phase 1 and is commanded by Captain Dov Bar. 30 minutes after the first force departs, Phase 2, a contingent of 20 Sayeret Matkal, under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Ze'ev Almog, another unit of Israeli Special Forces, departs in 7 boats. This force will hold short until the call into action by the Phase 1 force. The dark shadows in the night move out towards their objective. The daring Operation Bulmus 6 is underway. But first, a quick word on this week's sponsor, World of Warships Legends, a free-to-play naval warfare-themed game available on console. Fight in 400 aircraft carriers, battleships, cruisers and destroyers in exciting real-time combat on over 20 unique maps in a large active online community. Two worlds collide as World of Warships Legends teams up with World of Tanks Modern Armour for a free United Force DLC for both games. World of Warships Legends players receive the French Tier 2 premium destroyer Enseigne Gabold, and World of Tanks Modern Armour players wield the British Tier 5 premium heavy tank Excelsior, along with more rewards from the all-new Winterfest special event. This isn't a game that just requires reflexes. Players will need to think strategically to win, and make best use of the large variety of ship types from 11 different nations, with more ships and missions available every 5 weeks. Jump straight into the action with an easy learning curve, and enjoy intense PvP battles ranging from 9 vs 9 to 3 vs 3 vs 3 vs 3. Download and play World of Warships Legends for free using my link in the description to receive a huge starter pack including the American Tier 3 premium battleship Arkansas, German Tier 3 cruiser Karlsruhe, 7 days of premium account, 10 red, white and blue camouflages, 10 hunter camouflages, and 2 Spectral Vault 2.0 crates, with high chances of dropping a premium ship and a special event currency which you can spend on new content. In the midst of the War of Attrition, following the conclusion of the 1967 Six-Day War, Israel and its Arab neighbours remain in a state of war, with no serious diplomatic efforts undertaken to pursue a ceasefire nor peace treaty. For the Arab world, peace risks a recognition of the State of Israel, whereas for Israel, peace would weaken its strategic advantages. The War of Attrition has largely taken place over the recently occupied Sinai Peninsula, where the Bar Lev line has transformed the Suez Canal into a front line, an easily lit powder keg. Engagements during this conflict have largely taken place in the skies over Egypt and the Sinai, as well as artillery strikes at the front. For Israel, air and artillery strikes seek to deny Egypt of its intelligence gathering and early warning installations, which pose a threat to the Israeli Air Force. Israel is largely successful in this, enjoying aerial superiority, at least until the later arrival of the Soviet Union air forces. Meanwhile, numerous Israeli and Egyptian Special Forces raids are conducted across the Suez Canal, highlighting their respective enemies' vulnerabilities and bolstering domestic propaganda. 9 days prior to Operation Bulmus 6, Egyptian Special Forces conduct a raid across the Suez Canal at Mezash. 7 Israelis are killed, 5 more are wounded, and several more are captured. A target for a retaliatory Special Forces raid is quickly selected by Israeli Chief of Staff Haim Bar Lev and Minister of Defense Moshe Dayan. Green Island is a small Egyptian artificial island that was built by the British Army and Royal Navy to protect the city of Suez and the Suez Canal during the Second World War. Atop the island lies a stone and concrete fort. With a garrison of 70 infantrymen, 30 signallers, 12 As-Saika commandos, 14 machine guns, and 2 37mm and 4 85mm anti-aircraft emplacements, the Egyptian military considers this island to be an impregnable fortress and symbol of Egyptian military prowess. Raiding this installation is primarily intended to send a message to the Egyptian military, but at the same time, the island is believed to house Egyptian early warning radar and an electronic intelligence station. The Shayetet 13 Israeli Special Forces naval commandos will attack this installation with support from operators of the Sayeret Matkal, who in 7 years' time will achieve international notoriety after storming the airport at Entebbe in Uganda. The overall force commander, Lieutenant Colonel Ze'ev Almog, is given a week to draft plans. The plan calls for Shayetet 13 to land first, securing a beachhead before breaching the outer defences and securing an internal perimeter within the fortifications. Once complete, a signal will call in the Sayeret Matkal. The northern and eastern segments of the island will be secured first, then the south and the west. With the second force are command and medical elements. By 10:30 PM, the Israeli Phase 1 is 900 metres from their target, and the first force of Shayetet 13 disembark from their boats. They will swim the remainder of the journey. After a short distance, they equip their rebreathers and descend beneath the water to stealthily approach the island. However, as a result of unforeseen currents, the force of Shayetet 13 drift north of their target, but noticing this, they quickly amend their trajectory. By 1:30 AM, they surface beneath the island's bridge. Now, within 15 metres of the shore, flotilla leader Captain Dov Bar notices 2 armed sentries above and orders his men underwater and to remove their diving gear. Having stowed their equipment, the 20 fighters of Dov Bar's flotilla emerge from the water in complete secrecy, with their AK-47s and Uzis trained towards the sentries. Crawling on their stomachs from shadow to shadow, the men of Lieutenant Ilan Agosi's team approach the barbed wire ahead and begin to cut at it. The Shayetet 13 force is split into different teams, each named the name of its commander. As Agosi team cuts through the wire, a sentry above grows suspicious of the rustling. As he moves to investigate, Lieutenant Agosi is forced to open fire, killing him instantly. Hearing the gunshot, the second sentry lobs a grenade blindly into the darkness, landing close enough to Agosi to strike both his legs. The raid's secrecy is no more. Having moved independently of the rest of Captain Barr's force, Major Paulin's suppression force atop a maritime marker to the south of the island opens fire with rocket-propelled grenades and small arms fire to draw attention away from the storming commandos. Lieutenant Agosi's team, having temporarily ceased cutting the wire, returns promptly to finish the job. With their presence made known, they penetrate a hole in the wall identified a few days prior. Lieutenant Agosi's team breaches through the gap and storms an Egyptian machine gun nest ahead. Close quarter combat ensues. As one Israeli commando advances eastward along a wall, he throws grenades through each window he passes. To his surprise, one of these grenades is thrown back by those inside. He promptly kicks it into the sea. Continuing to the eastern end of the fort, he kills 2 Egyptian soldiers. Having secured his position, he flashes Captain Barr and Junior Lieutenant Amnon Sofer for their teams to breach the fort. Through the breach, Lieutenant Amit's team also advances, rushing towards the radar array. As they dart past the AA gun designated Cannon Number 2, Lieutenant Amit launches a grenade into its position, killing any crew nearby. Pushing on under the fire of 2 machine guns, Amit team reaches the Hemehen Bridge, connecting the radar array to the remainder of the fort. Silencing both machine guns and now within range of the radar array itself, Lieutenant Amit orders his team to throw grenades towards the array, knocking it out immediately. Meanwhile, Captain Barr's team begins to climb the fort's steep walls, where they immediately come into contact with another machine gun position. With quick thinking, Barr's team launch a rocket-propelled grenade into the position, silencing it, as the remainder of the team hurries behind what cover they can find. As the team separates, 2 commandos advance forward and occupy the machine gun position where they immediately come under fire from another. Suppressed, the 2 commandos hunker down helplessly, whilst their teammates advance onto its position, quickly neutralising this machine gun's crew. On the rooftop, 3 of Captain Barr's team, now free from the threat, advance onto Cannon Number 1 and clear its position of Egyptian soldiers. Lieutenant Sofer's team begins to move ahead without him, under the leadership of Gil Levy. They enter into the northern building. With 1 commando remaining by the door, the remaining 3 advance through the building and, using a ladder they brought with them, climb onto the rooftop. Shortly after, they are quickly joined by Lieutenant Amit's team, having successfully rendered the Egyptian radar inoperable. On the rooftop, Lieutenant Amit's team come under significant fire from another Egyptian machine gun position. Amit's second-in-command, Lieutenant Amichai Ayalon, reaches the roof and is struck by shrapnel to the forehead. Despite this, he hurls a grenade towards the machine gun firing at them, but it fails to explode. Lieutenant Ayalon and Sergeant Zalman Rott advance on the machine gun position, disabling and occupying it. Joined by a 3rd commando, the 3 eliminate another 2 Egyptian soldiers in positions ahead of them. Lieutenant Agosi's team now advances towards machine gun position number 3 in the direction of the boat anchorage, aiming to prevent any Egyptian escape. As they do so, they come across several Egyptians attempting to flee, and promptly eliminate them all. At the same time, Captain Barr's team advances south. They are under continuous fire from positions below them, and one of his team is wounded. The Israeli commandos now attempt to call in the second Israeli force of Sayeret Matkal. One commando attempts to use his walkie-talkie to communicate with them, but is unable to do so as a result of water damage. He instead ignites a green flare, which is impossible to miss. Captain Barr, unaware that machine gun number 5 has already been taken by 2 Israeli commandos, promptly dispatches Haim Sterman and Yoav Shahar to secure it. As they near the machine gun, a grenade lands beside them, killing them both. Lieutenant Ayalon and one of his commandos, both injured earlier in the raid, are sent by Captain Barr to continue clearing position number 3. They throw grenades into the structure before breaching. It is around this time that the second force, Phase 2, arrives on the island. From the remaining 7 boats, 20 men of the Sayeret Matkal disembark. They are to reinvigorate the assault now that half of the Shayetet 13 commandos have been wounded. Immediately, several of the Sayeret Matkal begin to tend to casualties and secure them in the boats ready for evacuation. The remainder grab what additional ammunition they can and race into the fort. Lieutenant Colonel Almog is promptly informed that Phase 1 has lost 2 commandos, with countless more wounded. Nonetheless, 3 of the 6 AA positions are secure, with a 4th under assault. With time now running out before Egyptian forces on the mainland become aware of the situation, Lieutenant Colonel Almog announces that the operation must hastily secure the final third of the island before he issues orders to withdraw, despite growing pressure from Chief of General Staff Haim Bar-Lev to do so. Following these orders, Captain Barr orders 7 Sayeret Matkal to advance onto cannon number 6. As they do so, they pass beneath cannon number 4, under significant fire, forcing them to hold position. A series of Egyptian grenades lands around them, with one detonating close enough to wound 3 of the Sayeret Matkal, and Lieutenant Ayalon himself a second time. As one operator attempts to drag Lieutenant Ayalon to cover, another grenade lands, wounding the lieutenant yet again, and the man helping him. Just as these operators begin to recover, yet another grenade lands amongst them, this time wounding 2 more of the Sayeret Matkal. Captain Ram's team of Sayeret Matkal now reaches Lieutenant Amit, currently held up at the station's office. He is given an update on the mission while his team wait by cannon number 3. As Amit completes his update, anti-aircraft fire from cannon number 6 strikes Captain Ram, killing him instantly. With Captain Ram dead, Lieutenant Colonel Almog and Captain Barr move to cannon number 3 and order Captain Ram's team and any remaining Sayeret Matkal to advance onto cannon number 4. As they advance onto this AA gun, 3 are killed by Egyptian fire, with a further 6 wounded. 2 Sayeret Matkal quickly identify the location of the defenders and silence the position with a well-placed rocket-propelled grenade. As the dead and wounded are evacuated to the rubber boats, Lieutenant Colonel Almog and Captain Barr now advance onto cannon number 4. Here, Captain Ram's team, now under the leadership of his second-in-command, and Lieutenant Sofa's team, are ordered to advance onto cannon number 5. As they near the position, they come under fire and launch a series of grenades into their enemies' positions. As the grenades detonate, one triggers an explosive, detonating the cannon's munitions, igniting a continuous stream of explosions that leaves any advance impossible. With the route to cannons number 5 and 6 blocked, Lieutenant Colonel Almog gives the order to withdraw. Team leaders now begin to order their men to return to the boats, through the eastern and northern buildings, where room clearance is still ongoing. Moving through the courtyard, Junior Lieutenant Amiti Nahamani's team engages the eastern building first, throwing grenades into the structure's windows whilst the Egyptians within return fire, killing operator Yuval Miron. Using a megaphone, Lieutenant Nahamani barks orders to withdraw from beneath cannon number 3. In doing so, he attracts the attention of Egyptian soldiers positioned within the headquarters building that begin to open fire. Returning fire, Nahamani team engage the Egyptians from within their building. However, Gilut's team is now entering the HQ building being engaged. He bellows out from a window below, calling for Nahamani team to cease fire immediately to prevent friendly fire. As Lieutenant Gillutz's team clears the building, he spots a door descending into the basement. Knowing it isn't a good idea to venture down, he throws a grenade down into the basement room and moves on. Gillutz's team ventures towards the roof. From here, they launch rocket-propelled grenades towards the pier and its anchorage to prevent any Egyptian escape. From this position, they also fire on cannon number 6, and the Egyptians defending it, who continue to engage the withdrawing Israelis. During the evacuation, explosives had been brought to the northwestern end of the fort, where divers were supposed to have tied devices to the bridge's pillars. However, these explosives have not been tied down. One commando locates the explosives, and in the process of gathering them, shoots dead several Egyptians that approach him. However, now wounded, the commando is unable to set up the explosives and retires to evacuate. By now, the evacuation is well underway. Both the dead and wounded are being ferried off Green Island. The plan had been to eliminate all the fortification's anti-aircraft cannons, but the inability to reach cannon number 6 forces Almog to concentrate his explosives beneath cannons 1 through 4. It is around this time that Egyptian artillery from the mainland to the north begins a bombardment. With shells splashing in the waters around the island and growing ever closer, the explosives are set and primed around the fort's cannons, just as the last remaining commandos board their craft and depart. Within minutes, the Egyptian artillery zeroes in on the island, setting off the Israeli explosives, and unknowingly killing a number of their own. The raid has cost the lives of 6 Israelis: Chaim Sturman, Yoav Shahar, Danny Levy, Ehud Ram, Danny Vaza, and Yuval Miron. 75 Egyptians have been killed. The raid is considered a success, with the Egyptian forces along the Bar Lev line placed on heightened alert. Various Israeli units note that Egyptian positions begin firing blindly and wildly throughout the night and into the early morning. Following the destruction of the Egyptian early warning and radar systems, the Israeli Air Force capitalizes upon this by launching Operation Boxer, a renewed aerial assault inflicting significant damage to Egyptian air defences, artillery positions and fortifications across and behind the front. Download and play World of Warships Legends for free using my link in the description to receive a huge starter pack including the American Tier 3 premium battleship Arkansas, German Tier 3 cruiser Karlsruhe, 7 days of premium account, 10 red, white and blue camouflages, 10 hunter camouflages, and 2 Spectral Vault 2.0 crates, with high chances of dropping a premium ship and a special event currency which you can spend on new content. Thanks again to our amazing patrons whose support enables us to make these videos. Thank you to all our new patrons who joined recently, and a special thanks to our Patron of the Week, Forrest Miller. Each week we choose our favourite Patreon comments to shout out. This week Morgan says, "Surely there's a movie about this, if not, there needs to be." If you'd like to support us, please join our Patreon at patreon.com/The Operations Room and get access to exclusive benefits such as early access to videos, ad and sponsor free. We would love to have you as part of our community and really appreciate your support.